Здравствуйте, my name is Andrei, and welcome to Hearts of Iron 4, AI only, World War 3. I figured it would be topical at the moment, considering the certain memes and stuff passing around a certain country, between two certain countries. But that's not what this is about. Today we are playing the Novum Vexilla mod, not the new Millennium Dawn, which I personally don't like. Novum Vexillum is more like the OG Millennium Dawn. Now, this is not a regular game, because what I did, I don't know if it shows up in here exactly, but I gave every major country, as in every country whose name I could read on this, basically, from out here, 500,000 equipment of all types each. That means planes, that means tanks, guns, it means everything. So that applies to basically all the South American nations, about half the African nations, and like 90% of the high population ones. A lot of Europe, all of North America, lots of Asia, and Australia. So I've disabled all alliances. There are no alliances, so new things are going to form on their own, and we're just going to see what happens and how many people die. One more thing I've now gone and done is I've added 100 threat level to most of the major countries of every continent, which now means that there's basically a 100% guaranteed world tension among, well, a lot of countries. Alright, well, our first development to speak of so far is that Vladimir Zhirinovsky has won the election in Russia. That is the Nationalist Party. So that might prove interesting. I do realize part of my screen's cut off, but I'll fix that in just a minute. Alright, we've gotten our first war now. It's not a new one, but it's China versus India, and there's a faction. Yep, that's a faction. Alright, we've got Hong Kong, China, Macau, Laos, Vietnam, North Korea versus India, Japan, and Mongolia. What are you doing? Then we've got, well. Yeah, that, doesn't look like a completely balanced fight, but hopefully Japan will do something to help that. India's taken some ground and fewer losses. We've got our second war, which is Russia versus Ukraine. A little controversial, might avoid that one, but I can't say that I'm surprised it's happening. And India is taking ground against China. At least they are in the west, in the deserts of Tibet. Guess they're trying to get the Dalai Lama's homeland back or something. Oh hey, you'll never guess which side Ukraine just joined. They joined the Asian Federation. So now, that means Russia's gonna be at war with India, which is kind of surprising. I think they were kind of okay with each other in real life. Who's in this faction? Iraq, Russia, Indonesia, and Transnistria. Now, Iraq being a part of this faction means that a certain North American country under a certain leader may end up at war starting World War 3 already. Well, this situation seems to have ended rather quickly. Whereas here in China and Japan, things seem to be going in a different direction. Japan has managed to make exactly zero progress against anybody. They've only killed what looks like about 300 Vietnamese soldiers, despite losing 45,000. And for having a severe numerical disadvantage, India is doing very well. Though, when I looked here last, that entire area was, well, that happened. They're fighting on. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, well, oh boy. Now a war has started between France and Germany, which apparently Germany's going monarchist, so maybe that's got something to do with it. South and North Korea. They're also at war. Doesn't seem like much is happening, and North Korea has a bit of a bit of an economic problem, even though they do indeed have a larger army, so I guess we're just gonna have to see how that happens, considering they've also got almost no industrial capacity. I have a feeling China's gonna eventually take the advantage and win against India, because that's usually what happens. It is 2001. It's not the time yet, because a certain event has to happen, but things could get interesting. Well, in the least surprising turn of events ever, Chechnya got declared war on by Russia, and the war was over before I even got an opportunity to look at it. I might start to set some things on fire pretty soon. Maybe slightly irritating, but it will likely be very interesting. So let's do that. So, well, now we've started a few more wars, just a couple. Mostly just between neighbors, not necessarily ones that would have any reason to fight each other, but just ones that I think would be a little interesting to see. It's creating a lot of interesting situations. US is at war with a lot, Russia's with Finland, Sweden and Norway, Poland and the Czechs, Italy and most of Central Europe, Romania and Bulgaria, Turkey, Greece and Syria, and apparently Greece already landed an invasion. Iran and Pakistan, China and India, the Netherlands joining the United Kingdom, and as far as factions go, it looks like there's 4. And I can't imagine the US is going to lose any of these, but they are outnumbered. Well, Norway just got puppeted. I don't know what's happening in Finland. Pakistan's probably going to lose to Iran, though I did buff both of them. But this guy does kind of look like a gnome, so I'm not really surprised. South and North Korea haven't moved much, except North Korea has taken 2 provinces near Seoul. That is interesting. Also got Argentina and Brazil fighting. I know that's just going to result in a lot of death because that's too much of a choke point for either side to push past it. And then Venezuela's taken out Colombia. Well, I just looked at the wars that America was involved in to see exactly what was happening, thinking that it was kind of balanced, but evidently that is not the case. The US has a much larger army and apparently a much better army. So, yeah, I'm not really surprised. Well, rest in peace this Japanese naval invasion in Vietnam. The Japanese have really been having a hard time here, and evidently so have the South Koreans, because that doesn't look good. Chinese-India front, same as always. Well, the Middle East is on fire, but I can't say that's anything new. It looks like there's not much progress in that direction. It may be time for Germany to pull a Schlieffen plan real quick, just to see what happens. Oh yeah, and Poland's big now. Well, now what we have is basically another World War II, because we've got these parts of Western Europe going up against Germany. Evidently, I also missed the collapse of Finland. Rest in peace. This time the Winter War was not enough to save you. China and India, guess what? They're still fighting in Tibet. And Mengistu Haile Mariam is fighting Kenya, apparently. I didn't even know Mengistu was the leader again. South Africa seems to be having a great time with Namibia. Well, if I'm being honest, I kind of expect that we're just going to see the 3rd death of the Balkans. So we'll see what happens to Turkey. It looks like they're finishing off Syria. That's too bad for Putin, but he's not even president anymore, so go figure. Japan's trying it again in Vietnam. The North Koreans are winning, though probably almost entirely at the will of the Chinese. And giving the Germans access to Schlieffen Plan Mark II does not seem to have been working out very well for them. And Italy is slightly more powerful than they were at the start of the game, but still not another Rome. And it looks like they're about ready to befriend the Russians, which could prove interesting. Canada is now a puppet of the United States. Apparently I missed that. So, rest in peace, Mexico. Well, Iran be looking kind of thick, though. Let's see if we can find that war in here somewhere. Don't even know if we can, because there's so much going on, but, you know, casual 360-something thousand losses. Saudi Arabia looks like it's going to finish off Jordan. And we are witnessing the end of South Korea. Rest in peace. At least there will be no more K-pop. Well, the war with Germany is over, and we've got a certain German, somewhat controversial leader under the control of France with Jacques Chirac. And now the only people left in the British faction is the Belgians, who are getting navally invaded by Poland. Kind of curious. It's going sort of in the favor of the Balkans. Looks like a standstill. Guess what? They're still fighting in Tibet and China, and Iran's probably about to beat Pakistan and Afghanistan. North Korea solidified its power. I don't know what Japan's doing. They stopped caring about Vietnam. And Mexico is slowly but surely being conquered. You know, I was almost rooting originally for the alliance of Mexico and Canada, just to see if it was possible for two AI countries to take out the US so early in the game. But, I mean, if we look at these casualties, one may be able to notice there is a very slight discrepancy in the numbers here. Angola beat the DRC and has them puppeted, so Mr. Savimbi, you know, something just tells me he's got a very slightly more happy expression on there, but I really can't tell. Ethiopia is almost done with Kenya, and this man's sad expression really just kind of describes how I feel about that. Algeria and Libya are two countries I completely forgot were at war because the border literally hasn't moved at all this entire time. And evidently they're completely balanced. And would you look at that, India and Japan are almost at the exact same place, but we haven't checked the casualties in a while, so let's just take a little peek at that, and it's about 5 million? 4 million. 4 million, mostly on the Chinese side. And I'm pretty sure America's at war with Spain. I don't know what's coming back here. Spain, you're about 500 years later than you should be. The Libya-Algeria war has done something. Oh wait, these are actually only two provinces, okay. That war is the same, just a slightly different shape now. North Korea is still strongest Korea. And this happened to not Benelux, but the Benin. Brazil and Argentina war is going differently because Uruguay joined Argentina. Now they're pushing on Brazil, and almost 1 million people have died there. South Sudan exists, but is apparently not actually... Egypt. When did Egypt even... You know what, it's fine. And Kenya! Coming back from the brink to Ethiopia. And I'm guessing that it might be because Ethiopia ran out of manpower or something? This war's in the same place it's been the whole time, except now how many people are dead. Just a good old, you know, 5-point-something million. And the Libyan-Algerian war is back to this again with about 180,000 dead. Well, just before Libya was gonna die to Algeria, they decided to join the Russian faction. Now, these guys are in the Asian Federation because that's definitely the continent they're on at the moment. Europe's still cursed. I'm definitely getting car bombed after this. Polish and Zimbabwe, lots of Africa, it looks like, is just having a grand old time. Well, Turkey no longer exists. Well, I mean, I suppose it exists. It's still got Istanbul. But, Syria got a lot larger. Which is definitely interesting. Yugoslavia, not really reunited, but, oh, yeah, no, they all abandoned each other. Now the United States has taken the most casualties because they've unsuccessfully tried to invade Spain about, well, a lot of times. Alright, well, after another year has passed, bet you'd never guess where the border with China and India is. It's still here. China's got 0 manpower, but that's been that way for a while, and India's at 7 million, but they're also at war with Kazakhstan, my spirit nation Kyrgyzstan, and Russia, North Korea, Vietnam, Laos, and Indonesia, Iraq, and Belarus, and Sweden, and Norway, and Azerbaijan, and South Ossetia. Rest in peace, Mongolia. Let's see if we can make it to the end of this war. It's kind of driving me crazy, and I've run out of time to record it. Hearts of Iron 4 sure does love to slow down. I'm gonna give it a bit of a finale. See how long it takes for it to end after that. Let's see what happens now. There we go. Maybe that will make some progress. Alright, well finally, without any sort of without any sort of irregular means at all, we have managed to justly end this war with Russia taking Japan, China taking India into the People's Republic of India. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. May do more of this if I have the time to actually record for longer. This was interesting, and hopefully at least somewhat entertaining. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. That guy looks rather interesting, and of course Putin made it in at the end. Putin. And yeah, sure. Tag, so why not? And in the end, it was all employed by Satom to get protection from Russia. До свидания.